Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. Today I'm continuing my series of videos concerning all of the individual products that I purchased from Onewind Outdoors for my summer hammock kit. And today I'm going to be focusing on the tarp. Now the three components I purchased for the tarp system was the tarp, which came with guy lines, alien, loop, tensioners, and some mini carabiners. I purchased a tarp sleeve and I purchased a ridgeline reel. I'm going to go ahead and set this up and talk about it. Now when I saw the ridgeline reel online, I was thinking, it looks pretty gimmicky. I don't know about that, but I'll give it a try anyway. Well, after receiving it, I'm less than enthusiastic about the longevity of this device. For one thing, it's made like a dollar store toy, and it's made super cheap. But aside that, and aside it actually being very ugly, I don't particularly like the color. Okay, so to me it's ugly. I'm allowed to think that because it's mine. Now the other thing is that the way this goes on the tree and connects, what you have to do is you have to pull out a bunch of the ridge line, and then you have to, one at a time, pull down each one of the prusik knots. And Dyneema prusik knots on Dyneema cord can be very difficult to adjust. Now, okay, this might be enough to get me around the tree. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap this around the tree and take you the rest of the way. Now I'm going to wrap this around the tree. The loop that's here on the end, I have to run everything through that and pull that good and snug. Now I'm going to walk this all the way to the other tree to attach it. I roll this around, and you have to sort of like leave this here. And then I'm going to go, hopefully I'll stay. Now I'm going to go all the way back down to the other end of the ridge line and pull the prusik knots that I need to be down here. Now I counted that off and it took me almost 30 seconds to get this to where I need it to be. Now I'm going to go ahead and move these through, at least this one anyway, because I need to have this to where I can run this line through it. Now, pull that as tight as I can. And I can't pull that out too far. There's not enough room for my tarp to fit on there. So I run over that. Well, you can't see it. The way it works is you run it like that, and then 1, 2, it locks. So I got to do that over here in order to make it tight enough and the prusik knots far enough away from the tarp so that I can actually rig my tarp. And of course, all this stuff is in the way. Okay, that's almost there. Now, then I can reel up my excess, and that little carabiner is going to keep it there for me. And now I have my prusik knot for my toggle for my tarp. Now I purchased a tarp sleeve, which is like a snake skin you use with hammocks, to go with this, because well, okay, you know, I'll give it a shot. Well, the Ridgeline reel is not realistically compatible with this, and so I have to either not use this and use the Ridgeline reel, or I have to go ahead and stretch a regular Ridgeline, which is no problem whatsoever for me, and then I can use this. But we're going to keep this one in place, not mess with this today, and we'll get that tarp hung. Now I've got the tarp toggled at both points the way it's supposed to. This is the Billow Ultralight Tarp. It's a 12-foot tarp, and so it's more than sufficient for this hammock, which is really good. I'm going to show you some of the manufacturing features on this, then we'll talk a little bit more about the setup. Now along the bottom there are 4 tie-out points. One not too far away from the end, one on the corner. Then the middle section is wide open until you get to the other side, which is the mirror image of this, and you have 2 other tie-out points. There's a tie-out point here and here, just a little bit inward and above the 2 tie-out points that are on the inner sides. Now the stitching on all the tie-out points are pretty good. I've seen better, but I've seen a lot worse. And all of the seams are sealed very, very well. And even this section here, which is fairly complicated, I mean, it is sealed very, very well all the way around. I've went through, I've checked all the edge seams, the stitching, and so far, you know, like I said, I've seen better, but I also seen a lot worse. So I'm pleased with the construction of it. The lightweight quality of the Sil nylon, I don't own anything Sil nylon, so this is something else. This is so lightweight, and I'm really curious as to how this is going to hold up in really harsh weather. Now I'm going to attach guy lines to the tie-out points. That is one end on both sides. These 2 right here, I'm going to do that on both sides. Now the way this tarp is designed, you can do configurations which is more conducive for summer, which is the manner in which I have it configured right now, partially, but you can also connect your guy lines here that will actually create like a drop wall from here down that would be more conducive for winter camping and to have less airflow coming through. Being a summer months, airflow is what I want in my hammock camping environment. Now, like I said, it's almost done. On each corner, there's a bungee cord. And on the end of this bungee cord, there's a loop. On the end of the other bungee cord, there's a mini carabiner. Now, I maximize the amount of airflow I have. However, if inclement weather comes around, I can disconnect them very quickly. And I demonstrated this in, I think it was my test camp video, on how I can secure one tent stake here and attach both of the bungees from each corner on this side in, and they create angled in walls. So this right here for summer tarp right now is absolutely fantastic. I'm very interested to see how it's going to do in the winter, because I am going to try it out, and the configuration to where I'm making those lower walls just to be able to prevent any of that air from getting in. Onewind provided 4 of these alien loops. Ooh. And I've used them, and I can see their practicality. However, this is a thing that can be lost. It's a thing that can cause issues when you're rolling up tarps and storing things. I appreciate the ingenuity that went into this, and it really works well as a tensioner. It works very well. However, I can tie a taut line hitch super fast, and I never need to have any specialized piece of equipment to do it. I can do it with any type of cordage that I own, and it works for me. So that I'm not using these for this tarp, but you do get 4 of these and 4 mini carabiners with it. And I haven't quite figured out what they're giving you the little mini carabiners for, but you know, you can always use a little mini carabiner for something, and you know, whether it's a key ring or whatever. But I just wanted to point out that they do provide these. Even though I don't use them, doesn't mean that you wouldn't want to. They're pretty cool little things, but I'm old school. I prefer the taut line hitch. A couple things I wanted to point out. If you did see my summer hammock camp, test camp video with all the Onewind stuff, I mentioned that I would be getting rid of the guy lines that were bright orange. I've actually changed my mind on that. The cordage that they use for those guy lines work really well. I mean, it's a good quality cordage, and I have noticed that I kind of like the very narrow guy line in the orange. I tried it once with 550 cord, and 550 cord is probably about 3 or 4 times the diameter of that, and it stands out like someone's waving a lightsaber in the woods. But this doesn't really stand out that much, but when you're close to it, you see it. At a distance, you don't even notice it. So I'm going to retain that. It's good cordage. Another thing is the tent stakes that they provide. This is a Coughlin tent stake, and this is what I usually go to because they're cheap and they're readily available. I have bent a lot of these over the years, and if they bend to the portion that I can't bend them back, they're just unusable, I chuck them. They're like 90 cents a piece, and I've got them less than that, but you know, Coughlin's is like 90 cents a piece at like Walmart, places like that. That's how much I pay for them in the past. I buy a dozen at a time when I buy, because I go through them. But I've never once had one of these tent stakes do this. I have 3 tent stakes from this purchase that has done this. I do not know if it is because of the design where the teeth are in comparison to the Coughlin's, which is very minuscule, but I've lost 3 tent stakes to where they've actually broken. This one I was actually pulling up, out of the ground, and it just bent back, and I heard a click, and there we have it. That's not good. I don't like these tent stakes. When I first saw them, I thought, well, they're a little short, but I'll make do. But I will be eventually replacing all of them with longer, tried and true, for me anyway, Coughlin aluminum anodized tent stakes. Now, I really like this tarp. Everything about it I like a lot. The tarp itself, I think the construction's pretty solid. Like I said, everything I've seen better and I've seen worse, but for the price, I think it's a fair price for the quality. With them shipping this and advertising it with this configuration in mind, I mean, yes, I'd never seen that before, and it works fantastic for summer. However, I can use this same type of configuration with my DD 4x4, and I'm going to give it a try. I've got tons of bungee cord, I got a whole spool of it, and I got all kinds of little mini carabiners and S hooks and things like that, so I'm definitely going to try that with a larger tarp than this. This is a rectangular tarp, and the nice thing about this rectangular tarp, I can configure it like a hexagonal tent or a regular rectangular tent, or I can do like I do with my DD 4x4, configure it to where the corners go in and basically form little doors. But for this size of tarp, it wouldn't be doors, it would be more or less just a little shield to keep the rain and the wind from getting in on my hammock. Now, of everything that I purchased for this summer hammock kit, just from the first time setting it up to where I am now, I've consistently liked this component. I like it. Time's going to tell whether or not it's going to be durable enough to withstand harsher weather, things like that, but right now I do like this very much. Everything else I sort of had to figure it out as I went, and you know, there was a little bit of I guess the exploration aspect of how can I use this to the maximum effect, or how can I use it at all, because the way I thought I was supposed to be able to use it, well, you can't do it. And so from what I see on the advertising online versus what I get, that information doesn't jive, and that bothers me as far as a company goes. And who knows, it could be my misunderstanding, but from what I saw, what I read, what I got, that doesn't make sense. So I've found a way to make everything work so far, except the Ridgeline reel. If by any chance I want to try my tarp sleeve / snakeskin with this, I can't use the Ridgeline reel, and I'm gonna have to use a traditional Ridgeline, which doesn't bother me at all. That's what I'm used to. That's what I'm used to. And I can deploy a standard Ridgeline so much faster than I can this Ridgeline reel. Of everything that I've purchased in that order, the Ridgeline reel is my least favorite. The one item that did not live up to what I thought it could be, and I right off the bat, I can't recommend that. I'm going to continue playing with it, but it's just how it's constructed. The design, as far as being able to deploy it with the Prusik knots. If the Prusik knots weren't on it, and you didn't have to pull them all the way out, that wouldn't be an issue at all. I mean, it'd be fairly quick, but to have to slide those all the way down, and it is made of Dyneema, and so that's a plus too. But I'm not feeling real good about that Ridgeline reel. That's just me. Like I said, I'll continue playing with it because I can use a Ridgeline for other things in camp, aka a clothesline. But I don't think I'll be using it in the future for the Ridgeline for my tarps. Now, this isn't a proper bona fide review. This is my impressions of this after using it for a few weeks, and right now I like it a lot, and I'm looking forward to using it well in through winter, because I really want to see how tough and durable this thing is, because this is super lightweight, and if this can hold up to my camping in the winter, that's going to be a game changer, probably by about a pound, and I like it. Of course, Ridgeline reel, I would not recommend it, and I don't like it. It's just be perfectly flat out and honest. Yeah, it looks sort of gimmicky when I got it. It is a gimmick, and it's not made very well. It hasn't broken yet, but just holding it in your hands and shaking it, it's just a matter of time. If I were to drop it on one of these rocks, it'd bust a million pieces, and then I'd have a big spool of Dyneema, which I could probably use a spool of Dyneema more than I could the Ridgeline reel. So even if it does break, or I wind up not using it as a Ridgeline reel, I'll definitely be using the Dyneema cordage. Folks, if you have any experience with Onewind outdoors tarps that you'd like to share with me, I'd really like to read about it in the comment section below. And if you have any other tips or suggestions for other companies that may be out there that is budget friendly, has good quality products, things like that, that you personally have experience with, and you would recommend them, please let me know that too. Other than that, folks, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. Today I'm continuing my series of videos on the individual products that I received from, I didn't receive them, I bought them. Now the three components that I purchased was the tarp, which comes with guy lines, it comes with alien loop tensioners, and several miniature carabiners as well. I forget what I said. Now, the three items that I purchased for